Hey there, aspiring guitarists. I'm going to take a minute to talk about guitar and musical instrument and accessory financing. And I utilize it and I really like it. Um, you may be familiar or already have one of the many different Synchrony credit cards, and it's a valuable service. Um, and I utilize it quite a bit, especially trying to get guitars, musical accessories for students and beginners and things like that. Um, the first, but I want to talk about ways to use it to your benefit and things you need to look out for. The first Synchrony credit card I ever got was a Lowe's one, and I got it to buy a high dollar item at no interest promotional financing. Now, what that means, among many things, for this particular instance, was I was able to make monthly payments. You had to make monthly payments over a specified amount of time, and I would have gotten no interest charges. So that appealed to me. Like many people, we grew up working our tails off and often maxed out credit cards trying to feed boys and pay bills and take care of cars that broke down. So, when you finally get older and retire, you try to make credit work for you. You try to, use a credit card that gives you cash back. You try to make smart credit decisions. I'm not here to tell you about how credit can get you in trouble. It can. But it can also be used to your benefit with cash back, or to buy something that is on sale at a very cheap or good price that you would have paid more for, and on and on and on. But you do have to be careful. So I'm going to talk about a few things with the Synchrony credit card usage that are great, and some they're like all credit card companies. You got to watch out. You can find at the various Sweetwater Musicians Friend, Guitar Center, Lowe's. I don't even know how many places Synchrony has vendor-specific credit cards, but I'm sure it's many. And they run a lot of promotional financing, but you need to be careful about that promotional financing because they have expiration dates on them. And what that means, and I'm going to paraphrase, I am no financial expert, I am no lawyer, I'm not giving you financial or legal advice. I'm telling you the way it was represented to me from representatives when I asked and inquired is an expiration date on a promotional financing means that you have to pay off the balance by that date, or then you're going to be charged interest. And interest can be high. It can be the maximum allowed by law. It can be up there hovering around 30%. It can be anything the card company, whoever the powers that be, make it be. So you got to watch out for that. You may see interest-free finances and think you're off the hook, and then all of a sudden you're not actually looking at your statement, and because Synchrony does a very good job of breaking down your promotional purchases, showing you how much the deferred interest is, the date you purchased it, and when it expires. So, but you have to look. And then there's other things you got to do. If you buy something on a promotional 24-month, 36, 48-month financing, then you start buying other ththings. Many people get a credit card, they make a payment, they even make a good payment. They don't make the minimum payment, they make a bigger payment. And then, they get their little balance jumps up. You can go to synchrony.com and see the cards you have, and they go, oh, I've got $800 to spend. Whoopie-doo. I wasn't going to do anything else with it. I came down from my max limit, and so I'll just buy some things. Some things you buy may not be a promotional interest free, so you've got to watch out for that. So you might not pay interest on the part of your bill that you got promotional financing, but yet you are paying interest on the other things you didn't. And that you're going to have to look into that. That's not something I'm trying to. I'm not your financial wizard. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just telling you, you need to look at your bill and understand what is and what isn't. Yeah, I've heard some people say everything is promotional finance. Well, that's fine. Now, they also have promotional financing fees where they'll take a percentage of the financing and you'll get charged a fee for that on certain things, and I can't tell you what things those are. You're gonna have to work that out with your sales engineers and people that were assigned to your account. I'm just telling you to be aware of that. So it can get complex, but I still enjoy using it. I do try to always pay off my promotional financing, even if it means a much bigger payment. That brings up another thing. Allocation of the payment. I remember one of them, I knew I was getting within like 60 days of the expiration date, and so I looked at the balance that was left to pay off the promotion for that. And so I increased my payment to that amount. I thought, okay, all's good. And then I called them to make sure that it happened. Well, it didn't happen. And here's why it didn't happen. The first thing they told me that they do is you have to make the minimum payment regardless of the promotional expiration the balance due. So even though I had made a payment that covered the balance due, yeah, they applied great amounts of it to that promotional purchase, but the very last little amount they didn't, which amounted to the amount of the minimum payment. So I'm just telling you, you need to be aware of these little things. And I'm not telling you that to keep you from buying things. It keeps me from tying up cash. I use it in conjunction with trying to use smart credit cards that pay me back. If I want to buy something on Sweetwater and it's more than my Sweetwater limit, then my sales engineer will put that other amount on my own credit card that I do get cash back. So I try to think about what I'm buying before I buy. It's just like many of these have these easy credit card payment plans. They'll give you interest free for 3 months. They'll give you interest free for 6 months. But they also charge you a fee to use that. So you've got to ask yourself, is the fee more than the interest you would have paid? And I can't answer that for you. That's going to depend on the interest charge, the amount that you paid, and things of that nature. All I'm trying to get you to do is say, it's wonderful that Sweetwater Musician Friend, Guitar Center, Music Arts, all these places have teamed up with Synchrony so that you can get things, especially if you're like a gigging musician and have to have something that you couldn't normally pay for by yourself. Now, you'll hear people say never finance a guitar. I'm not going to say that. There are times financing can be a smart thing. I covered that when I first started this. And then, of course, there's times that it can lead to financial doom if you're not smart about it. And you wind up getting over the limit, and you should have been paying other things, and you get in that vicious credit cycle. Now, here's the last thing I want to talk about with these Synchrony credit cards. I praise Synchrony, but I do have a problem with them, but it's one that can be resolved, I've found, for the most part. If I just log into Synchrony and pull up my accounts, the different, whether it's Musicians Friends, Sweetwater, what have you, and I call the general 800 number for help, like to ask about allocation of a payment to promotion, I'm awfully going to, I've gotten a generic representative. They're very well trained. Um, but what I found out is they're only going to answer the specific questions I ask. That they're not my experience. They're not going to volunteer what might be a smarter thing to do. That they didn't for me, anyway. But here's something that I did find out, and I learned it from Lowe's and my Sweetwater agent. Lowe's has a specific 800 number you call, and the people you talk there know about Lowe's. They understand the promotional finance, and in fact, I don't know what the other companies do, but like when you get within 48 months of a promotion expiring, they automatically start applying the payment toward the promotional balance, where others say you've got to call and tell them to allocate. Well, my Sweetwater engineer gave me the Sweetwater specific 800 number, and that made all the difference in the world. The representative is very familiar with Sweetwater, how they do things, allocation of payments. They understand what Sweetwater is doing, and they made it easier for me to understand what was going on. Now I'm going to talk about something that some people might get offended. I'm going to try to not offend you. My Lowe's Synchrony agent, I told him about some problems I was having with some other Synchrony cards where I just couldn't understand the representative. They were foreign speaking to me. And that's not a good or a bad thing. I just couldn't understand them. I just couldn't. I'm a slow talking Southern boy. I don't care where you were born. God bless you, and you're working, and good for you. But we were having a communication disconnect. I could not understand them. They were talking fast. I was trying to tell them to slow down. It just wasn't working for me. And go ahead and judge me for saying that if you want. I can't help it. It is what it is. I tried to listen better. I tried to ask them to slow down. And the Lowe's agent told me, and he said, well, David, there's nothing wrong with asking for a U.S. representative for communication reasons. And I have, and it's helped me tremendously. Now, I'm not trying to beat up on people that aren't born in America, or if you're in England and they weren't born in England, or wherever. I'm just saying they realize that communication is difficult. And sometimes we use different colloquialisms and the things I'm an old Southern boy. I draw out. I talk slow. You start talking fast to me, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like in the movie Sweet Home Alabama. Darling, just because I talk slow don't mean I'm stupid. But I do talk slow. So that's something else, now be kind. I really can't understand you, and please don't take offense, but I would appreciate getting a U.S. representative, or I would appreciate getting a United Kingdom representative, or a country of India representative. I don't know. Through differences we find strengths. It's just something that I wanted to bring up that has helped me, is trying to get to someone I can communicate with. I try to communicate better. I do. But I guess I've had too many years of y'all, and that I'm not ashamed of that. It's a slow culture that has fit me, and it fits the people that live around me, but I respect I'm different from some other fast-paced cultures, and things like that. So that is something to be aware of, is make sure you can communicate with the person, but even if you can't, don't be mean. That's my suggestion. Don't be mean. Just be as matter of fact as you can. So financing can be a great thing, but you do need to look at your statements. Now I realize there's lots and lots of other things that may help you to use your financing and credit wisely. You may be one that says, I'll never finance. Well, good. You know, you may be one that doesn't have to finance anything. Well, good for you too. Many people do, and many people try to use it to their advantage when they can. So that's the reason I wanted to bring it up. Look at your statements, you know, and remember, if you get your statements electronically, it's real easy to let them come in an email or in your bank's bill pay and never look at them. You have to make yourself look at them. I actually open mine up, I save them to a PDF, and I rename them. The name of the company and the month and the closing date. And I've got them all. That way I can go back and refer and, you know, make sure nothing's wrong. So I hope this helps in your guitar journey. It's really nice that they offer these type things. But it's like many things, you've got to use it responsibly and wisely. So, hey, I hope your guitar journey is blessed. And most of all, like I always say, and I mean it, hey, happy picking.